Hi everybody, welcome. In this video we are going to be talking about the brand new DEKA Atlas. Now, up until a couple of days ago I had no clue what it was, and it's not been on my radar at all. It wasn't until someone sent me this logo through WhatsApp saying, "What's this?" Did I get any sight of it whatsoever. But when I did, it perked up my interest quite a lot, and that's mainly because I have a lot of experience with Spartan Race's OCR events and more recently the DEKA Hybrid Fitness Competition, so I wanted to know what it was all about. So I did a little bit of research, a little bit of digging, and I can now answer that question. What is DEKA Atlas? DEKA Atlas is a brand new 10 exercise station hybrid fitness test from the good people that brought us Spartan DEKA. Now, this is a offshoot of that. It is something slightly different altogether compared to their fit, mile and strong DEKA that they put out at the moment. This is going to be something that they run alongside these other events. We can already see them popping up on the calendar, so we know that this is going to be something they do competitively, as well as something you can set up in your own gym as a simulation. In this video, I will take you to the gym in a moment and I will talk you through each of the exercises that they've chosen, the weights that they have chosen to do them on, as well as the movement standards attributed to each of the stations. I'll then discuss my time, how it felt, and give you a nice summary and conclusion at the end. Okay, so we will be going to the gym shortly and setting up the DEKA Atlas fitness test. Now, how do we do this? It's quite simple. This particular test does not require huge amounts of equipment. It doesn't have you running off to various bits of the gym. All you need really is 2 large dumbbells, 45 kilos a hand, 2 of those, 2 smaller dumbbells, 22.5 kilos, 2 of those. You need a plate weight, 15 kilos for the men. You will need a barbell loaded up to 45 kilos. You need a skipping rope, so put that down as well. And finally, you will need your Atlas stone variant. So either an Atlas stone itself or a dead ball or a sandbag, as long as it weighs 45 kilos. Line them all up. You will also need some space. A 5-meter run ideally is what you need. So measure out 5 meters. For me in the gym, it's 5 meters squared. We've got rubber mats that are a square meter each, so it's very easy to know that distance. Have a defined line. If you have to put a bit of tape down or a bit of chalk just to know where your turnaround point is, will help you out a little bit further down the line. Once that's all laid out, get your watch ready, and 3, 2, 1, start. Exercise station 1 is barbell thrusters times 20 reps. This is 45 kilos for the men and 30 kilos for the women. Now, if you're from a CrossFit background, you'll be very familiar with barbell thrusters. For me, I'm not very good at barbell thrusters. That's obvious from the video. I'm really struggling from the get-go here. And one of the things I noticed straight away, that the choice of footwear that I had on that day, my Hyrox Puma Nitro Elite 3s were not exactly the best shoes for this. They are predominantly a running shoe and as such have quite soft foam underneath, and it had me leaning forwards certainly when doing these thrusters. It made everything just a little bit difficult. In fact, carbon fiber shoes just have no benefit for this type of fitness test. In fact, a sturdier shoe, a flat bottom shoe, would actually be much better for the range of exercises that you're going to be doing. So just bear that in mind. So I have nearly finished my reps on here. I think I have a few more to go. The movement standards for this particular exercise are getting your squat to parallel, so breaking parallel with the bottoms of your legs, and locking out at the top. They're the 2 main things that you need to look out for. As you can see, those soft shoes are really not helping me out at all. Now, although this isn't a huge weight, it's plenty for this type of fitness test. So what I'm doing now, I'm transitioning into exercise station number 2, which is the barbell burpees. So there are 20 of these to do, and the movement standards are chest to ground and clear the bar. You're allowed to step over the bar, you're allowed to get over the bar whichever way you want. The only sort of caveat is that they must be full-size plates on the barbell, so it's the right height. Now, these are actually really grim, certainly coming off the back of the other exercise. You're already feeling quite gassed at this stage. It's very easy to think that because there's no running that there's no cardio involvement, but there is. You are quite out of breath from the get-go. What you will notice though, because all of the weights are heavier, that the entire thing feels slower. When you do a normal DEKA run through, you will find that it's all a bit furious, a bit fast. It's all about shaving time off. With this, it's about managing that from the get-go. Okay, so we are into exercise number 3. Now, the surrender lunge. I have never done a surrender lunge in my life before, so this was the very first time I'd ever done one. So for the men, it is a 22.5 kilo, and for the women, it is a 15 kilo weight. Now this can be a plate weight, a dead ball, a ram, sandbag. I chose a dumbbell because they're the only things in the gym that I had at 22.5 kilos. One of the things I have noticed that this, because it's an American created test, that it all leans towards American plates and American weights. So the 22.5 kilos is a 50-pound weight. So the movement standards with these, you do a backward lunge till the knee touches the ground, then you bring the other knee down and cycle through it. It's as simple as that, really. Right, so I was taking a little breath before moving into exercise station 4, the single arm dumbbell ground to overhead. Again, we're repurposing that 22.5, so that stays out. 22.5 must hit the deck and must lock out at the top. They're the sort of main movement standards. One thing that is quite specific in the rules is that your hand must release at the bottom. If you notice that. And I'm also not touching my thighs. I'm not using any additional benefit. Well, I did there a little bit, but I was consciously trying not to do that. Locking out at the top, swapping hands actually when it's on the ground rather than when you're bringing it back up. And these are quite tough. At this weight, these are quite tough. Okay, exercise number 4. We have the dumbbell bear crawl, 40 meters. So it's 22.5 kilos per hand for the men and 15 kilos per hand for the women. The idea is that you rest your hands on them, you hold them, and you walk the weights hand over hand until you've done each of the runs. Now the distance is 40 meters, and the way they have sort of prescribed how you set this up is have a 5 meter run. So a there and back is 10 meters, and then you simply do that 4 times. We use this same 5 meters a little bit later on in the test as well. This is really quite difficult. The weight is considerable for this type of movement. Bear crawls are kind of grim at the best of times. What you'll notice is that this is really slow to sort of implement. In fact, you can't help but look at your watch. From a sort of a cardiovascular point of view, this is very devastating. It is a tough one, and 40 meters actually feels like a very long way when traveling with a 22.5 kilo in each hand. Okay, moving on to station 6. So we've got sit-ups. That lady in the background is asking what workout I'm doing, and I'm giving my honest opinion about how terrible I'm feeling at that point. So we've got sit-ups here, and we've got 15 kilos to hold in your hands for the men and 9 kilos for the women. It can be a plate weight, a ball, a ram, or a sandbag, and it must touch between your legs and above your head with each round. Quite simple, really. Exercise number 7, it's the farmer's carry, 60 meters. So we're repurposing that 5 meter run, so it's 6 out and backs, and these are with the 45 kilo per hand for the men and 32 kilos per hand for the women. Now these are very heavy weights indeed. Now one of the movement standards for this particular exercise is that every 10 meters the weights must go down onto the floor, which means you have to deadlift them up. Now at 45 kilos a hand, they're pretty much going to go down on the floor whether you like it or not. I don't think I could have managed much further than 10 meter increments anyway, because it's an incredible weight to be carrying around in a farmer's carry style. That's 90 kilos, that's in excess of my own body weight total, so just think of it like that. So yes, just backwards and forwards 6 times up and down that 5 meter run. You can use kettlebells or dumbbells for this, but I've never seen kettlebells go that high to 45 kilos. So most people will be looking on the bottom shelf of their dumbbell rack. For me, that was 2 rooms away, so I had to carry these all the way from that room to this room. And then when I was finished with the test, I'd carry those one at a time, sheepishly back to the dumbbell rack where I got them from. Now, I am on my 5th set. I think I've just done that. I think I am just taking a breather. Now, one of the things you will notice is that this is not a fast test. It's not as furious. You will notice that straight away. And there's no shame in just taking those few moments to catch your breath. The time that you've got is actually quite generous, so don't be afraid just to catch your breath. So exercise station number 8, it's the dumbbell shoulder to overhead press times 20. So the men have 22.5 kilos per hand and the ladies have 15 kilos per hand. And the rules are it must touch the shoulders at the bottom of the rep and lock out at the top. And it's actually quite difficult by this point in the test. By exercise 8, you're quite gassed, and these feel tremendously heavy to get above your head. Now, you can either strict press them or you can push press them. I recommend push pressing them because you can utilize a little bit of leg drive to get them up, and I would cluster them into 4s or 5s. It's as simple as that, really. Exercise station number 9 is the jump rope singles times 100 reps. Now, this actually felt like a little bit of a rest. You can go as fast or as slow as you like with these. A lot of people that come from CrossFit background will already know how to skip very, very well. So this will once again lend itself to those types of disciplines. Simply smash out 100 of these. It actually feels really comfortable at this point, and that's good because you're about to get the grand finale. Exercise station number 10, it's the Atlas shoulder to carry 100 meters. So we're repurposing that 5 meters out and back, so 10 meters total, and it is 10 reps of that. For the men, it is a 45 kilo weight, and for the ladies, it's a 32 kilogram weight. Now, you can use one of the rubber dead balls or a sandbag if you've got the appropriate weights of those. I didn't have either, so I had to use an actual Atlas stone, which is also an option. I'm actually using a 50 kilo over the sort of 5 kilos more than what it is actually for the test, and that's simply because of lack of options in my gym. Sometimes you have to use what you have in your actual gym. I had to be a little bit careful with putting it down because a 50 kilo Atlas stone dropped from shoulder height can actually cause damage to the floor, so I put some extra rubber mats down. I had to go get those before I started this. And this is quite heavy to get to the shoulder. It's not too bad once it's up. Once again, you have to drop the weight onto the ground as part of the movement standards every 10 meters. So you've got to get that up onto your shoulder every single time you return back to where you started from. I'm not putting it down because I have to, I'm putting it down because the movement standards tell me I must. So yeah, it's about just sort of grizzling through these. I've got one eye on the watch. I know I have a 30-minute time cap, so I'm trying to crank these out as absolute fast as possible. It's about just getting it done. I kind of have a dominant shoulder with these, which is my sort of left shoulder, but because the stone was quite rough and quite difficult and hurting me a little bit, I tried to alternate it to the other shoulder every now and again, which just felt a little bit peculiar. As you can see, sweat is dripping off me, and even though there are no cardio components of this test like running or any of the erg machines, I am absolutely cream cracked. I'm sweating and I'm about done. So it's about sort of forcing these last few reps out now. It's about just getting to the end. If I was doing this in competition, I would probably spend a little bit less time resting and a little bit more time working. So this is the very last one. It's down and the watch is stopped. And I am done. I have now finished my DEKA Atlas fitness test. I got a 25-minute and 59-second effort. So what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean a lot, really. This particular test was a fact-finding mission for me. I spent quite a lot of this not really knowing how to pace myself. Some of these exercises are completely unpracticed. I've barely done thrusters before. The surrender lunges, I've never done those. And the bear crawls, which I struggle with without weight, adding 22 kilos per hand was something else altogether. So yes, very much finding my feet this first run through. I was also spending a little bit of time moving the cameras around. You'll see that in the footage. I moved the cameras from one end of the gym to the other, and when I actually did get to the Atlas stone, when I dropped it for the first time, I realized that I needed to go and get some extra rubber mats, so I went off and did that as well. But having said that, I still got a 25-minute and 59 seconds. This tells me that the time cap that they've put on this of 30 minutes is actually really generous, and that the 3 minutes that you in your mind that you allocate to each of the exercises, you will soon see that you are banking extra seconds with each of the exercises, and it all starts to build up toward the end. If I was doing this competitively, obviously I would give it a little bit more oomph than I was at the gym that day. I was also having to be mindful of other people and courteous, certainly when lugging the Atlas stone on my shoulder up and down the length of the gym. The last thing I wanted to drop a 50-kilo Atlas stone onto another gym member. So yes, there are lots of ways that I could get faster at that, and I think a 23-24 minute is very, very possible. So would I like to do this competitively out in the real world at one of these affiliate gym events? Yes, I would. It would be a very different style of event to the current DEKA lineup, where it's all about going as fast as you can. Those events are furious when they get going. It's about doing reps simply as blisteringly quickly as possible. You cannot necessarily do that same speed with these weights doing these exercises. It is a different thing altogether. It will definitely benefit people who do sort of CrossFit and that style of training more doing this type of stuff. There's lots of exercises that they will be well rehearsed in doing, and those types of athletes will do very well at this type of competition. So I now see why DEKA have released the Atlas event. It's very, very different to the original lineup of DEKA events. It is going to draw out the stronger athletes and probably benefit those that have CrossFit style background to their training, strength training, rather than those that just train aerobic and cardiovascular type training. So if you're someone that's got higher muscle mass and higher strength, then this is going to be right up your street. If you're someone that's got lower strength capacity and lower muscle mass, then this might just be something that you can build up to. My recommendation to you is go into the gym and pick up some of the weights that they use and try and do these things just one station at a time. Try the 45s in your hand for the farmer's carry. Just try that for 60 meters. Pick up the 45-kilo Atlas stone, put it on your shoulder, and imagine going 100 meters. Do a bear crawl with a 22-kilo dumbbell in each hand, and you will soon start to get a feel for how this competition is going to be for you. So yeah, it's going to be different for everyone depending on how strong you are, your aerobic background, and just your training style in general. There's going to be a challenge for just about everybody in this. So I would be very keen to hear what you guys have to say about it. Drop some comments down below. I would recommend going and get it simulated as soon as possible, because you'll then know how it feels. You'll know how I feel. So yeah, drop some comments down below, guys. I would love to hear from you. Right, I think that's the end of this one. Thank you very much for watching. Please give the channel a subscribe. There's a little button right there. Just give it a press for me. It's free to do and helps me out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video soon. Mart out.